welcome to the Helix webinar series. Today's session is Smart Reporting to BMC Helix Dashboards workshop. Just to note, we have been running these for roughly around 10 months now, and we have got some more sessions coming up in the new year. We are aware that the product's going to be deprecated very soon, so we will be running further sessions if you need any more support. Before we get started, just want to remind you there was some prerequisite training that you were going to be doing. If you haven't managed to get to the training, which I'm aware that some of you registered quite late, if you can reach out to me after the event, I will be sending a thank you email with contact details, and I will arrange your account to be set up with education. So those are the two listed there. You can see the fundamentals using WBT course, so that's online, and then we also have the migrating reports. And we've also been fortunate enough to have a new course that's been released, which is the Dashboards Fundamentals Designing for Service Management. So if you are interested in following that one up, it will be a chargeable course, but I will send out some details. So don't worry about taking those details down now. And before we just remind you of all of the things around asking questions, there is a legal notice because there is some roadmap stuff we'll be discussing. If you can just take a few minutes to read this notice. And then I will remind you all, there is the Q&A section of Zoom. If you have a look at the bottom of Zoom, up until that time, you will remain muted. So if you do have any questions, please put them into the Q&A, and then we'll have roughly around 15 minutes or so at the end. So we'll take some of those questions live, and you'll have the opportunity to talk to the team. We have a lot to cover in these next couple of hours. So I'm now going to hand over to Nikhil to do his formal introduction and to get us started. So over to you, Nikhil.
Thank you, Sam, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all our participants today from wherever you're joining this workshop. I'm Nikhil Deshpande. I am a Principal Product Manager. I'm the Product Manager for BMC Helix Dashboards here at BMC. And today on this workshop, I'm joined by my colleagues, Abhinay and Ajinkya. And together, we will take you through this workshop on how to migrate seamlessly from smart reporting, which you may be using, to BMC Helix dashboards. What can you do to make this transition smooth? Why BMC Helix dashboards is the right solution for your needs. We'll look at all of that. We also have a product demo included. So we'll show you a demo of Visual Query Builder, which is a drag and drop report designer that you can use for building your service management reports, whether it's ITSM, digital workplace, or business workflows, any of the service management products from BMC. So with that, let's get started. Let's understand for a moment, what is service ops? For far too long, there have existed within IT organizations broadly two organizational units, IT service management and IT operations management. IT service management deals with service desk, incident management, incident, problem, change, release, service catalog, all of that. Service level management, all of those ITIL practices and so on. Whereas IT operations management deals with events, metrics, capacity, and everything on the operations management side. Up until now, these two organizations have worked in silos. The walls between these two organizations are not good for IT organizations to be able to meet and exceed expectations placed on them by their customers. And their customers could be internal customers or external customers. Today, all IT organizations must make their businesses competitive in the marketplace, enable their businesses to compete better with established enterprises, as well as nimble startups who may not have all the baggage of enterprises. Today, anyone who is not in the business of serving external customers is in the business of serving internal customers. Service ops is also about bringing these two organizations together so that they can work together as one cohesive unit to make their businesses more competitive. It also includes facilitating the DevOps revolution. For more than 10 years now, DevOps has what started as a revolution has grown in many organizations, and it's important for IT organizations to facilitate the growth of the DevOps culture. Service Ops is that strategy of BMC that helps you enable these nimble DevOps teams or application development teams who may not be within the four walls of the IT function. We've also seen in recent times that what started off as IT service management is no longer just service management for IT. As I said, all those internal functions that are not in the business of serving external customers are in the business of serving internal customers. So think about facilities, HR, finance, or other corporate functions. Today, they want to adopt the same practices that IT service desks have used for more than 20 years. So all of this is part of Service Ops, and Service Ops is the cornerstone of our BMC Helix strategy. Dashboarding or analytics is an integral part of Service Ops, and we'll see how so in just a moment. BMC Helix Dashboards is built on Grafana, which is state-of-the-art technology for dashboarding. With Grafana, you can build dashboards and reports on your data sources, which could be BMC Helix applications on the service management side or on the operations management side. If you want to report on service management, typically this would be about incidents, problems, service level management, CMDB, and so on. And on the operations management side, this is typically events, capacity, metrics. BMC has developed key IP around dashboards, Helix dashboards. So remember, BMC Helix dashboards isn't just Grafana that's white label. It's not Grafana that has been rebranded as Helix dashboards. We have extended the capabilities of Grafana open source to add key feature sets, mainly in exporting and scheduling. And we have built these features over the past few years based on feedback that we have received from our customers. These are features that are aligned to service ops use cases, both ITOM as well as service management. And this is what differentiates us from others. This is BMC Helix Dashboards is one solution that's available for the entire suite of BMC Helix products. We also ship several out-of-the-box dashboards that you can use to get started on Helix Dashboards. Let's understand why BMC Helix Dashboards is the right solution for you. BMC Helix Dashboards comes with a broad range of visualizations that are apt for creating visually compelling dashboards for ITOM and ITSM. We've got a common reporting and dashboards framework that you can use for all BMC Helix products. Remember, one of the goals of Service Ops is to be able to drive outcomes in one domain based on what happens in the other. So think of situations or events that happen in ITOM that drive incidents in ITSM, or think of changes in ITSM that may be related to situations in ITOM. All of these use cases are service ops use cases, and dashboards is at the forefront of enabling these use cases. We've got several out-of-the-box dashboards available across the entire suite of BMC Helix products that you can use to get started. What we have seen is that out-of-the-box dashboards, many customers use them. Several customers want to use our dashboards to understand how to use data sources. And then if those dashboards don't exactly meet their requirements, oftentimes they might want to customize those dashboards. So feel free to copy those dashboards, create your own custom version, and add additional fields or additional panels, additional visualizations, change the visualization that works most for your company or your customers, and that's sufficient in most cases. As I said, BMC Helix Dashboards is a common dashboarding tool for all BMC Helix products. So on the service management side, it's not just ITSM, but also CMDB, virtual agent, digital workplace. If you have developed any custom applications using BMC Helix Innovation Suite, which was formerly called Helix BMC or Remedy ARS, you can use Helix dashboards for reporting on those applications too. On the operations management side, these are all the Helix products that you can use for all of these products listed here, you can use BMC Helix dashboards. This is what differentiates dashboards or Helix dashboards from smart reporting. Smart reporting is a point solution for ITSM. It also works for a few other products, but what we have seen is that our customers aren't looking for a great reporting solution that helps them just in ITSM. In order for IT organizations to meet and exceed their goals, they need to be able to provide or develop dashboards that go across ITSM and ITOM, bring them together. BMC Helix Dashboards is the only dashboarding solution that will help you get there. Now let's look at a few sample out-of-the-box dashboards that we ship in the product. This one is a digital workplace request overview dashboard. You can see it has several stat panels at the top. Stat panels help you, they can show just figures. Typically, these may be counts or average age. So you can see if these stat panels give you at a glance how many requests have been raised, how many have been fulfilled, what's the average age of service catalog requests, and so on. Then there are a few timeline panels. You can see a daily submission trend or daily fulfillment trend. You can build, you've got this donut chart or pie chart that shows you a breakdown of service requests by status. And then you also see these panels at the bottom that show you the top 10 requested categories, the top 10 requests, and so on. One of the tasks of the service desk team is workforce planning. Depending on the demand that's placed on the service desk through the service catalog, of course, service desk managers as well as IT leadership teams must make decisions on how many personnel to employ on the service desk. This dashboard can give you a good overview of the level of activity that's going on at the service desk, and they can make their staffing decisions accordingly. This one is a service operations dashboard. Remember, I talked about service ops. This is a great use case where we see data across service management and operations management all in one dashboard. So at the top, you see there are a few stat panels that show the latest health score, scheduled availability, number of situations, service state, even categories, and so on. Then at the bottom, you see a few stat panels that are relevant to, so you see some open incidents. So this is from ITSM, events are from ITOM. And then at the center, you see one timeline where we have correlated events and incidents all on one timeline. So this can help you correlate the events that took place at a point in time, and you can also see the volume of incidents that were created at around the same time. Helps you to correlate and establish possible cause-effect relationships, potential cause-effect relationships between events and incidents. BMC Helix Dashboards comes with a wide range of features that will enable the consumers of these dashboards to take action. The purpose of any dashboard is to initiate action. The consumer of that dashboard should feel empowered to find out what's going well, what's gone wrong, and if something is going well, what's going well so that those processes or practices can be replicated across different services, different teams, different locations, and so on. And to do that, you need to develop dashboards with the, the appropriate visualization. Sometimes a cross-tab dashboard may be necessary to show figures across two dimensions, across two analytical dimensions, or sometimes you may not need a dashboard. You may just need a record printing utility. For example, you may just want to print a change request or an incident or a service request. So for that, a record details visualization is most appropriate. You may want to use a bar chart for anything where you want to show a comparison of figures or counts across support teams, business services, locations, sites, whatever. Sometimes you may want to combine multiple metrics on one dashboard in one panel. So there you may want to use a combination chart, which is a combination of a line chart and a bar chart. So you can use the right visualization, the most appropriate visualization for your specific needs or for your specific use cases. You can also brand these dashboards if you have your own logos or images that you want to use within dashboards. We allow you to do that. We also enable you to schedule your reports. So we've seen that broadly, if you see consumers of dashboards, some of them are online, and these are typically service desk managers, incident managers, service catalog managers, service desk team members, leads who work in ITSM or digital workplace all the time or most of the time. Such people, hands-on people, may want to consume dashboards in real time. And there are others. These could be the IT leadership teams or sometimes business leaders, where they may not consume the dashboard directly or online. They may consume that information offline. For example, through dashboards that are exported to PDF or Excel format. And we allow you to schedule reports. You can schedule those reports, set a daily or hourly or weekly scheduled frequency, and that's most appropriate for you. And they will receive those dashboards in their inbox. We also support scheduling reports to FTP servers. So if you have an FTP site, if you use BMC Helix SaaS solutions, then you do get an FTP location there. You can configure that FTP location for scheduling your reports, and you'll see all those dashboards will be saved on that FTP server at that time. You can also schedule the reports in a way that your recipients will receive those dashboards as attachments in email. You may also schedule those dashboards in a way that the content of the dashboard appears in the body of an email. So all of these are possible with Helix dashboards. Grafana, we've seen is that Grafana is now a proven dashboarding solution, not just for observability platforms, but also broadly for applications such as ITSM as well. And increasingly, we find that Grafana is quite widely used in the market. Many companies use Grafana for their own dashboarding or reporting needs. We also find that a number of skilled resources are available in the job market. If you want to hire developers, report developers, you can find these skills available in the job market. If you wish to reskill your existing team members, your ITSM admins or developers, ITSM or any of these BMC Helix products, they can get up to speed with Helix dashboards in a fairly short period. So the learning curve is quite small. You can easily learn dashboards to create compelling content for your consumers of analytics. Now let's turn our attention to some dashboards that BMC's IT function has developed. BMC IT uses BMC Helix products for managing our IT operations and the IT service desk, and they have developed a few dashboards. Let's look at those. This one is a CIO dashboard that gives you a glimpse of what's going on for any IT leader, CIO or other senior IT leaders. It gives them glimpses into what's going on in IT. So you'll see some stat panels like open critical events by severity, major and minor events. You can see details of outages. You can then see a breakdown of outages by business service. You can see a breakdown of outage by technical service, top 10 impacted applications. These are the kind of things that keep IT leaders on their toes, and they need to have this information, whether it's good or bad, they need to have this information available as quickly as possible. And this dashboard gives them that overview. It also captures several other statistics, such as the total business services, total technical services, IT staff, number of virtual machines, databases, and so on. Everything that IT leaders want to be able to keep a watch on the IT function or IT processes, practices, all of that is, or most of it is captured in this dashboard. If you use VMware vCenter, then this dashboard, this vCenter overview dashboard will be of help. It shows you, so you'll see a few stat panels around total clusters, total data stores, and some status of certain of your top clusters. You'll see a you'll see CPU utilization for the top clusters, top 5 data stores by disk utilization. All of these are important things to know for your VMware estate. Jux will take questions a little later. Please feel free to post your questions in Q&A and we'll respond to those. And towards the end, we'll have time for questions. Thank you. This one is an application availability dashboard. So previously we saw ITSM dashboards. This is an operations management dashboard. This dashboard makes use of gauges. What are gauges used for? Typically, any metric that needs to be shown on a scale of 0 to 100, typically anything of the nature of a percentage. For that, uh, a gauge is an appropriate, an apt visualization for something like that. So you see this dashboard makes a good use of gauges. You see availability percentage. Typically, you would expect availability of your services to be 100% or close to 100%, as close to 100% as possible. But what is it actually? This dashboard shows you those figures: availability percentage, accuracy errors, transaction status, and so on. You can have, if you click on these gauges, you can drill down or drill through to details of what details make up those numbers. This is a dashboard on incident aging analysis. Service desk management teams often need to know aging of incidents. A common metric on the service desk is MTTR, and mean time to resolve. In order to reduce MTTR, service desk teams must reduce the volume of work in progress. In the service desk world, the work in progress is the number of incidents or service requests that are open at any point of time. And service desk teams must make sure that incidents should not remain open for too long. It certainly affects customer satisfaction. It also affects uh, fulfillment of service targets and service level agreements. This dashboard can help your service desk teams keep a watch over aging of incidents. How many incidents are open for more than 7 days, 7 to 14 days, 14 days to 30 days, more than 30 days. And accordingly, um, your service desk teams can take corrective action. Then this panel gives you a breakdown of those open incidents by assigned group for 7 to 14 days, 14 to 30 days, and so on. Then there's a cross tab here that shows you count of open incidents by priority. So you see all these priorities are rows and the columns are aging. So you can see how you can analyze this data across these two dimensions. And it's by looking at this table, certain areas will immediately catch your attention. You can then focus your analysis to what's broken or what seems to be an anomaly in that area. With that, I'm now going to hand over to Abhinay, who will take us through this second stage, which is about the best practices of migrating from smart reporting to Helix dashboards. Over to you, Abhinay.
Thank you, Nikhil. All right, so Nikhil has talked to us about why Helix Dashboard is the perfect solution for service ops use cases. Now let us look at the question how we can migrate from smart reporting to this new solution. So we'll look at a migration framework which will help us plan our migration, which will be a starting point for us to plan the migration from smart reporting to Helix Dashboard. We'll talk about assessment of smart reporting usage. So it's one of the most important aspects when you are planning this migration. So we'll look at it in more details. We'll put together everything and a sample migration strategy, and followed by a few learnings from the field. We have worked with a lot of customers who have gone through this journey, so we'll talk about some of those learnings. And finally, a few new features which are going to affect this migration effort. Right, let me. All right, so here we have the migration framework. So we divide this entire journey into these 5 phases. This is based on our experience with a lot of customers. So it adheres to all the best practices that BMC PS follows. And a couple of points before I proceed. So whenever I say BMC PS, please feel free to use whatever team that's going to do the actual migration. It could be BMC PS, it could be a partner, or it could be an in-house team. So that's one. And secondly, the migration framework and some of the best practices hold true for any tool that you're using and you're planning to migrate. But some of the specific assessments and tooling is BMC Smart Reporting specific. All right, so with that, let's start talking about this framework. It starts with a prepare phase, and this is the phase where most of you are in right now. So we want to, in this phase, we want to better understand the two platforms, how they are similar, how they are different, and you are going to get this awareness through going through some of the trainings, and you might have attended a couple of trainings before this session. This session itself or any other session conducted by BMC around Helix dashboard or this migration would be part of this prepare phase. So once you have a fair understanding of the two platforms and what you need to do for the migration, what kind of work might be needed, then we get into the planning phase. This is where we want to get a better understanding of smart reporting usage. What features are we using, the extent of usage, and how much the quantity of various usage aspects parameters. So we'll look into that usage, um, followed by some of the planning. So we want to understand what are our top priority reports, what are low priority reports, and so on. So once we are done with that, we can move into migrate and validate phase. So the two phases will go hand in hand. It's an iterative approach. We migrate the reports, we check if those reports are acceptable to the consumers of the reports. So whether it's your end customer, internal end customer, or an external customer, they do the validation and feed back the back to the migration team. And once everything goes well, reports are acceptable, there would be a transition phase depending on whether you have an external team helping you, BMCPS or a partner. It might also involve a knowledge transfer, how it was done, what are the lessons learned, if you need to do it in later phases, how you can do it yourself, and so on. All right, let's move forward. So let's talk about assessment of smart reporting, how we are using the smart reporting. And the first thing that we need to understand is how the two platforms, how the two products are similar or different. So we have listed 4 object types over here. There are many more where we can do a comparison, but for the purpose of migration effort, these are the 4 that we need to look at more closely. So number one is reports. So in smart, first thing you would see is observe is in smart reporting world, you have different type of objects where you can categorize your reporting structure, whether it's single standalone report or a nested co-display report or a dashboard which has reports linked to it. Whereas on Helix dashboard side, everything is a dashboard. It can have one or more panels. So as a result, um, as you can see, um, different object types would map to the dashboard in different ways. So a standalone report which has only one visualization or simple tabular reports, they all map to a Helix dashboard which has single panel. A report which has multiple visualizations or co-display report or a dashboard all map to Helix dashboard which has multiple panels on it, right? Next, we have broadcasts, which map to schedules, which they work very similar. So there's a one-to-one mapping there, drill down, drill through. So these are called links. But you would also notice some of them are supported by the migration utility and others are not. Uh, for visualizations, there is a conditional support, and that means it depends on the type of visualization you are using. That we'll see in the next slide. So here are the most um, common visualizations that you would come across. And as you would see, most of them have some kind of a mapping on Helix dashboard side. So one visualization in smart reporting would have something similar on Helix dashboard. It may be a little different, it may work a little different, but there would be something that represents the data in a very similar fashion. So for example, on smart reporting, you have different bar chart types, horizontal bar charts, 3D bars, then vertical, layered. Whereas on Helix dashboard, everything is termed bar chart, and then you can configure them on how they look. But you can also see there are certain certain visualization types which don't have anything similar on Helix Dashboard. And the biggest reason is the two platforms are essentially very different. They serve very different purpose. Smart reporting was very much ITSM focused, but Helix Dashboard, as Nikhil was explaining us, it's much wider. It caters to entire service ops spectrum of use cases. So the visualizations are built differently, but most of the common visualizations would have something similar on both platforms. Let's go to the next one. Right. So based on what we have learned in the previous two slides, when we are doing the assessment, this is what we want to understand. Number one, the quantity of the volume of total reports that we want to migrate. And this will have the biggest impact on the timelines, how much time it's going to take to migrate. Second is number of type of reports, whether you are using core display report, what kind of visualizations you're using. So we need to categorize the usage in these buckets. Next is complexity, which in a way depends on the point number two. So depending on the type of report, you would want to look at some of these specific parameters. If it's a co-display report, you would want to know how many child reports it has, how many linked reports it has, and for any report, it could be the advanced DB function usage, calculated fields, and so on. Number four, next is how frequently we are using that report. So is this report really in use or it's just lying in there? So this will help us in prioritizing and filtering our reports. So we want to look at the top priority reports first, and we would want to filter out any of the reports which are just lying in there. We'll talk a little bit more about this later on. Next, we would also want to understand if the report is part of any dashboard, if there are any broadcasts set up for that, and if there are linked reports to this. Now, how we do this assessment is using SQL queries. All of them are available on documentation page, Helix Dashboard Docs. So every query will give you a specific aspect of the usage. I've listed only the top 5 that we want to look at, but there are many other ways that you can find out how you're using it, and that you can go much, much deeper than what I'm talking about. But these are the points that we need at a minimum to get an understanding of the complexity and effort of the migration. Let's go to the next one. Here is a sample assessment report that we did for one of these smart reporting installations. And like you can see, these are the factors that I just talked about, that the quantity, the complexity, the categorization of reports. So we can see here 90-day hit count for each of the reports, how frequently the report was used, how much that report is in use. And here we are looking at only 90-day hit count. Every organization would have a different cutoff. They would want to uh, look back in the past, and some want only 90 days, some may want 45, some can go to 120 days. So it depends on your organization. When you're filtering out reports, what reports are not in use, then this is the way we do it. Then hit count will also help you prioritize. The more frequently used reports would go into top priority reports. Some of the one-off reports can be done later. Next, we have public-private. I'll come back to that in one of the later slides, why this is important. Next, we have visualization types. So whether the visualization is supported by the conversion utility or it is not. So that will also have some impact on our planning, how we plan the migration. Next four columns, which are different counts, will help us understand the complexity of this report. Calculated fields, database functions, drill down, drill through, code history reports, if any. Finally, dashboard name, if any, and then a count of broadcasts associated with it. So put together, this will help us in categorizing the reports, how much and how long it's gonna take us to migrate. All right, let's go to the next one. Now, putting it all together, this is a sample migration strategy based on the 5-phased framework we talked about at the beginning. It's a sample migration strategy and it has to be tweaked based on the individual organization, um, what you're trying to achieve, how you are structured, how you would want to do. So based on that, but more or less it follows a similar flow. We've talked about the prepare phase. Now let's talk about planning phase in little more detail. So once we are done with the assessment, we now have a fair understanding of our smart reporting usage. So first step is to filter out any of the reports which are just lying in there and not really in use. We should also prioritize uh, uh, because more focused planning on the top priority reports will help in um, better end user experience for those reports, better, easier, smoother rollout, and the lower priority reports can be done in later phases with lessons learned from the first phase. Now, that leads us to defining the scope for a pilot phase. What that means is now you might have, after filtering and prioritization, you might have 200 reports, and it's very tempting that you would want to do it for all 200 in one go. But what we recommend is for the dividing the entire journey and entire number into multiple phases, with the highest priority reports being done in the pilot phase, which could be a much smaller number, say 50 or so. And for these 50, then you can get into a more deeper analysis, and which is by which I mean you look at each of those reports and you decide whether you want to convert it, recreate it, or reuse something. Uh, when I say convert, that essentially means you take the SQL query as is, migrate it over to the new platform, either using the tool or recreating it, but using the same SQL query. Now, there are pros and cons to doing this. Obviously, it saves time if you are just taking the same SQL query over to the other side. But on the other side, you would miss on any of the new features that are available in Helix Dashboard. Also, this is an opportunity for you to optimize on the report queries, increase the performance, redesign it if needed, because when you might have created this report, things might have been different, and now over period, it may need some changes. So you would miss on these. So uh, we need to decide for each of the reports whether we want to take them as is or recreate them. When I say recreate, it means you build the report from scratch, grounds up in the new platform. And for that, we'll have Visual Query Builder available to us. SQL queries can be used for complex SQLs, but recommended approach is Visual Query Builder, and we'll see Ajinkya do a demo towards the end of the session. The next one is reuse, and that's where you want to reuse one of the out-of-box reports or something from the marketplace. We'll talk a little bit more about this. So once we have taken a decision and we are ready for the migration phase, the first thing would be to do the tool assisted conversion. So all the ones that we want to convert from this platform to the new as is, we'll go through this step. We validate. Some of the reports might not be compatible with the migration utility, so that has to be recreated. And once the migration work is done for a set of reports, it goes through a validation. If everything goes well, um, we move on to the go live phase. So once the reports are live on the new platform, uh, depending on if you had an external team helping you, it might also have a knowledge transfer component in there. Once this pilot phase completes, we can move on to the next phases, pick up the next set of priority reports, and go on. Let's go to the next one. All right, let's look at some of the learnings from the field based on our work with other customers. So here are 3 key learnings, and the number one is report sprawl. So what we have seen is across the board, all of the customers end up having a lot of reports which are not at all in use. Now, the number of reports which are not in use varies a lot from one organization to other based on how the reporting, creation of the reporting worked in that organization, and that can be anywhere somewhere from 50% to I have seen some it go as high as 80-90%. So that's why during assessment we really need to look at when the report was last used, how many times it was used in last n number of days, and filter out any of the reports that we don't need. Now, the reasons are many for this, but most common reasons that we have seen is the report was created as a one-time use report. It's no longer needed. It's just lying in there. Uh, Another common reason is sometimes people just make a copy of a report, start making change, and they are not really happy with that. So they're using the original one. The duplicate is still lying in there. Or owners have changed, organization structure has changed, and the report is not relevant. This is especially important if the owner moved either to a different part of the organization or moved out of the organization, and the report was marked private. So only owner was really using it, nobody else was using it. And that's why we have that as part of the assessment. We want to know what reports are marked private and do we really need them. That's one. Next is redundant reports. Now, what I mean by that is uh, what reports can be replaced by something that's already in there on the new platform. It could be out-of-box dashboard. So Nikhil talked about a lot of out-of-box dashboards. They're really powerful dashboards catering to most of the common use cases that you would come across in ITSM, ITOM, or service ops domain. So highly recommended that you take a look at all the out-of-box dashboards when you're planning the migration and see what reports can be better substituted by one of these. Other sources of these reports, these dashboards could be community, BMC community, or marketplace, which has community contributed content, and marketplace has content published by our partners. Next is new consoles. So there is a new shared ticket console and a new asset console, and you can see the screenshots on the right side of the slide. Now, for when you are looking at tabular reports, which is mostly looking at this kind of a data, then again, highly recommended that you take a look at these new consoles, and if any of uh, these consoles um, can do the same job as what you were doing in a simple tabular report, looking at ticket data or asset data, then you can use these consoles. They allow you to save presets. They allow you to export this report data. So most of the common use cases are taken care. Finally, the last one, bite-sized phases when you're planning the migration. I know it's very tempting that you have these 1,000 number of reports and you have a migration tool. Why not run it across and we'll see what happens. But the bottleneck there is the validation. So your end users, the consumers of the reports, can only validate so many in a given period of time. So uh, it's better to prioritize the reports and divide the entire migration into smaller iterations, and then uh, have the end users do a closer validation, especially on the top priority reports. With that, let's go to the next one, and we'll talk about three of our customers who are very different from each other, and they have gone through this journey. So we'll just quickly talk about how that was, and you might see similarities with one of them. So the first customer that we want to talk about is a large customer, a large government department, and they had very complex reports. And based on our analysis, based on our workshops with them, we decided it's best that we do it in multiple phases, each of them led by a workshop, where we'll do a deeper assessment of what reports we are looking at, and then we'll redesign the reports better suited for the new platform, better in performance. So we started with 5,200 reports, and the number dropped to 95 priority reports for the pilot phase. And these, again, these 95 reports were migrated in a agile way. So every sprint, certain number of reports were picked based on the complexity. The number would vary, 7 to 8. And then like in an true agile way, you had UAT going on in parallel for the previous reports migrated in the previous sprint. And after this pilot phase, we have a partner who is helping with the next set of priority reports. Next one we have is a retail giant, and they are a classic example of how reports sprawl can impact. So the first number that came out was 11,000 reports, which is huge. But after looking at what reports are really in use, the number dropped to 6,000. So you can see straight away almost half. And then when they really looked at the drop used reports, the number dropped to 381. So uh, uh, again, that highlights why the whole assessment and prioritization is really important. Next we have is a large e-commerce player, and uh, their planning went in a different way. Instead of going report first, they went dashboard first, because that's how their teams were structured. Each had a dashboard that they would look at, and there would be reports that might be in common, or it could be completely different. So they went with dashboard first, and the pilot phase had two priority dashboards, and the reports that were linked to these dashboards, and the reports, including the linked reports, the number went to 57 total reports. Uh, they also went very highly agile. It was a weekly conversion cycle. So every week there were mini go lives, UATs, and conversions going on in parallel. Let's go to the next one. All right, so here are a few resources. I won't spend a lot of time on these slides, but to help you plan your journey, there are a lot of resources that you can access. Number one is the documentation page. So all the information that I have covered, the assessment, the mappings, all of it is available here. You can go and check out. Let's go to the next one. There are other webinars, past webinars, and there are a few more documentation specific to some of the new features. Again, highly recommend it when you're planning. Let's move. Education courses, so you might have already taken a couple of them, and they start from very fundamental, basic web-based course all the way up to leading up to a certification in Helix Dashboards. So please do take a look. Next one. Helix community. So I briefly touched upon this. You can go and check out these for some of the community contributed content. So there are some sample dashboards that you can see listed at the bottom of the slide. These were created by other customers or partners who have contributed. Some of PS members also contribute to this community. So please do take a look. Some of the dashboards might be very helpful to you, and you may not need to migrate some of the reports that you're planning to. You can also use community to raise product enhancement ideas. Others can vote on it. And you can raise questions. There are people from our organization and partner organizations answering those questions as well as other customers. So another helpful place to get started. Let's move on. All right, finally, let's talk about 2PS offerings. So if you need help from BMC Professional Services to come in and help you plan or get started with your journey, then here are two offerings that you can use. The one on the left is specific to the migration from smart reporting to dashboard, and one on the right is more focused on starting afresh. So both are structured in a similar way. You have an architect helping you through a workshop, helping you plan and put together a solution design, and then a Helix dashboard expert who delivers the actual work, finally followed by a knowledge transfer. And with that, I'm done. Back to you, Nikhil.
Thank you, Abhinay. Okay, now let's move on. Now we're going to look at a video of Visual Query Builder, which is a drag and drop tool for developing service management dashboards. This is a recording, so please watch the recording of this tool. But of course, we have got Ajinkya who will respond to your questions as you watch.
Hello everyone. So I'm going to show you all Visual Query Builder and Reporting Metadata Studio, how it helps to create dashboard very quickly. And as being as a smart reporting user, Visual Query Builder gives you a similar experience of creating dashboard. So let's see how we can use Visual Query Builder to create dashboards. Okay, so this is our Helix portal, first landing page on the Helix portfolio. I'm just opening Helix dashboard from here. Okay, so this is just my home screen. I'm just closing this dock window. Okay, so I'll just use this first plus button to create new dashboard. I'm creating a new dashboard. I'm just clicking on add new visualization. For getting data from different application, different BMC Helix application, we have okay, so for service management, again, there are three types. Either you can use this form to create, or you can use SQL or Visual Query Builder, these two options. So SQL is freehand SQL, and Visual Query Builder is the one that I was talking about, which gives you a similar experience like a smart reporting to create dashboard. Okay, so I'm just clicking on this Visual Query Builder. It opens this entire screen, and if you see here, the view is selected, and first view is incident management. So if you see, there are many views provided by BMC as a out of box, like this change management, problem management, work order, and so on. So for now, for this demo, I'm just going to use visual incident management as a view. This view, when I say view, it's a combination of multiple forms in the AR, and also the join, and also the fields from that particular form or the column from that particular table. Okay, so if you see here, there are categories, like we call this as the fields. Okay, so incident management, and these are all incident related. Then we have some which are like only the date type. So if you notice, the icon represent that this is a date and time type of field. If you see here, these are the submitters, so it's a string, okay, string text type of. Then priority is again enum field. And similarly, we have some which is like total transfer or group transfer. These are the number field. So that way we have the different icons for different type of field. So let's say if I want to generate a report, let's say a simple report, show me the incident number and its priority. I can simply just drag these two fields. I can click on preview. It will show me, okay, the first 100 rows just for a preview, what query I have selected. And if I want to see, okay, what query it is getting generated at the backend, I can simply click on this SQL and it will show that. So if I just click on use query, my panel is ready. I can click on apply and I can save this dashboard. That way my simple panel is ready. I don't need to write a SQL here. I can simply use this drag and drop functionality to create a report. Okay. So if I want to do some aggregation, let's say, right, I want priority wise number of incidents, let's say, then I can use these aggregate functions. So depending on the field type, there are some aggregate functions associated. So if I click on this, now this will show me the count of incident number based on the priority. This is aggregation function on top of some field, right? We just need to use this 3 dot and use these functions. If we don't want to use field and then aggregation, there are some predefined calculated field which are like similar to this. Let's say count of incident will give you, if I want to have count of incident, I can simply use the number of incident field, calculated field directly as well. Okay. So I'll just remove this, I'll click on preview and use query. So now this is showing me data for all priorities. Let's say I want to filter this data based on the priority. So I can simply add this priority in the category, in the filter, and I can use these values. So as this is enum, we pre-populate the values for it. So I can simply say critical, I'll say preview. It will just show me the data only for critical. When I click on apply, this panel will show. data only for critical priority. This Visual Query Builder is like mostly used for creating a query and getting data into the Helix dashboard. Rest all functionality like visualization, all schedule, everything will be same. So there is no change in user experience for that. It is same for all. Now, let's say I have created this panel, but there are use cases where we need a variable or a filter, right? So we can use Visual Query Builder as a filter as well. So let's say I want to create a filter for priority, and simply say enable query editor, and this will open. This will show me the UI for Visual Query Builder. And here I want to create a filter for priority. So I'll just drag and drop this priority field here, the selection, and I'll click on preview. So these very well. Here I cannot drag multiple things because for variable, it requires only one column. So only one field I can drag and drop. We can have some functions to it. We can add filters even in the variable, that we can do, but only one field in the variable. So I just click on use query and my panel is ready. Okay. If I click on apply, if I go back to dashboard, this will show critical, high, low, medium as a filter, and I can use that here as well. So how to use that? Earlier, with the SQL mode, we have to add that variable reference in the query. Now with the Visual Query Builder, we can simply use this button. Instead of default values, I will use template as priority. I'll just remove this. I will just click on preview. And now this will show data for critical, because first selection is critical. If I switch to high, this will show data for high. If I switch to low, it will show data for low. So this way we can link variable in the VQB as well. Okay. So yeah, these are the Visual Query Builder options. So if I also want to show you a few more things, like there are multiple out-of-box dashboard similar to incident management. Also, this list will show some custom dashboard as well. Let's say if you have any customization done on the AR side and that is not covered in these out-of-box dashboard, out-of-box views, then we have to modify these views, add our customization, and again publish that view to Helix Dashboard so that report editors can use this view. For that customization, what we have another application which is Reporting Metadata Studio. Okay. So to get that studio, what you can do, you can just simply go to administration, then general, then you will see a tile for Reporting Metadata Studio. Okay. From here, you can use this download button. It will download one zip file, which is a Windows application, Windows standalone application that you need to execute or run on any Windows server where you have the casing setup with AR database. Okay, because this tool will need a connectivity between Helix Dashboard plus AR database. Okay, for that we can configure casing, and some of the details which are required, you can get it from here. Right, this AR host and port, these are some dummy values because these are the casing gateway host and port. Okay. You can simply use this copy to clipboard button to copy these values. Okay, so Now, if we talk about reporting metadata studio, so I have just downloaded this zip file from Helix Dashboard, and I extracted that. It shows me this particular folder, reporting metadata editor. Here we have this BMC auth configuration, and in this we have to just do a configuration for my ADE information. Okay. So what is my ADE tenant? That information I can quickly get from here, from the portal. This is my tenant URL. This is my tenant ID. This is my tenant URL. Again, AR host and port. This is the casing configuration. So if I just show you, this is my casing configuration file where I've configured this host with this port, this IP address, and with this port. So that way I've configured this, and those details I've mentioned here. REST endpoint. This is a platform URL which you can get it from Helix Dashboard. Like go to connection, open this particular BMC Helix data source, and inside this there is a platform URL. From here you can get this information. Environment alias, you can give any. For now I'm using this for demo, so that's why I'm given alias as a demo. We can have QA, prod, or dev, any name we can give. This is just an alias. Okay, so this is the environment file. Then we have profile file as well, where we need to mention key and secret of the user who is a reporting admin. Okay, so I'm using this user, user 2, and he is an administrator. Rather, instead of reporting administrator, he is a tenant administrator. And for him, how to get the user access key and secret? So on the Helix portal, if I go to my profile, then I have this option, right, to get my access keys. From here, I can simply click on add key, and I can give some name, and I will generate my access key for this account. This key has two parts. One is the access key, and another one is a secret that we can mention, that we can copy and paste in this file and save this file. So with this, all my reporting metadata studio configuration is done. I am ready to open reporting metadata studio. So what I will do, I'll just open this reporting metadata studio in the edit mode. Yeah. And I'll just open this batch file. Okay. Reporting metadata studio requires JDK, OpenJDK 17 and above. I have just configured 17 here on this server. This will like do authentication with the respect of your access key and secret, and opens up this UI. So whenever you open first time, you'll see like this blank screen. There is no connection, nothing. This is our first landing screen for reporting metadata studio. Here we have some option. This is a Windows normal application, which we can use to modify. So before we modify, we can get these out-of-box views plus the custom views from Helix Dashboard. So if you see, these are all out-of-box dashboard provided. These are all custom dashboards which I have created on this setup. Okay. To start with any customization, we have three options. Either you can take any out-of-box dashboard, do the modification, save it with some different name and publish to the Helix dashboard, and your view will be ready. Or else you can create from scratch. Just click on this new and start creating your view. Or third option is we can use this sample metadata view as a baseline where we have only two table and few columns from that table and one join. So that we can take it as a reference and extend that according to your need. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take again incident management, same view. Just clicking on OK to import. It asked me to save this model with some name. So I'll give 1009, INC 1009. Click on OK. Now what this reporting metadata studio will do, it will actually download this view from Helix dashboard. As being this Helix dashboard as a SaaS application, all the views are stored at the SaaS or the S3 level. Okay, so it will download that file, load that file into this reporting metadata studio, and we are ready to modify this particular view. So if you see, this is our out-of-box dashboard, which consists of HPD help desk, association, base element, task, impact areas, work log. These many tables are already added, table or form included in these views. This line shows the relationship between these two columns. This is like hierarchy of the relationship. This is A and this is B. And if you mouse over, you can see the relationship between all these tables or forms. Okay. Before we start, I just need to create a connection to the database. So I'm just opening this connection, database connection. This is a generic database connection to the AR server. Okay, it uses this URL, which we pre-populate depending on the configuration in that environment file. Only thing is user need to provide username and password. So I'm going to use same user, right? And I'm just clicking on this test button to verify if my connection is ready. Okay, so my connection is on. Clicking on OK. And now I can use this button to import the table. So here, import table. Now what I need to add one column, one new table in this view, and one column from that table. So for that, I'm just using this import table. This will show me all the tables from the AR. This list also includes all the customization done into the AR system. So just for demo, I am going to use HPD statistics as a column, which is not there in this view. I'm just selecting that, clicking on OK. Now, if you see, my table is added here as a physical table. Okay, these are all physical tables. Now, in this business model, we have to add this new table as a business table. So I'm just clicking on add new business table. I'm selecting this, and now this HPD help desk, HPD statistics, which was physical table, now it added as a business table. Now I need to add relationship between these two. So I can click on new relationship. I'll say HPD help desk of incident number. Let's say incident number. Let me just get that. Incident number and HPDL statistics and its instance counter. With this, I'm going to join because I know this schema. So I'm going to join these two table with the inner join. So I'm selecting inner join and I'm clicking on OK. So if you see, this line is generated and it shows the relationship between these two tables. I'm just simply saving this just to preserve my work. Now, after you save this, now what next? I want few column which I want to use it as a field from this statistic table. So what I will do, I'll just add new category. Okay, I'll just, when I say category, it is the folder which we have seen on the Visual Query Builder. I'll say stats and new folder is created. I'm just going to add few fields. Let's say status in this particular stat folder. I'll say user, I want user, want company. I think that's all for now, just for a demo. And I'm clicking OK. So if you see, these three fields got added. And if you notice, like these are all the fields which we see on the Visual Query Builder in the same order. So I'm just clicking on save again, just to save. Now my changes, whatever the changes that I wanted to do as a customization in out-of-box dashboard, that is done. I just want to verify my changes and verify my join. So here we have this query builder. We can use this query builder just to verify the changes. Okay. So I'm just selecting, okay, incident number I want, which is from HPD help desk, and I want these three fields which I have added, which are from HPD statistics that I have added. I can simply click on this SQL and see, okay, how is the join created. So if you see the join is correct, also the columns are there. And I can click on this run button. So, okay, so it will show me some data as well, first 5,000 rows for the preview purpose. Okay. So now I'm happy with all my changes that I wanted to do in the view. I'm saving this one more time just to not miss anything. And next step is, as this studio is on my Windows machine, I want to make this view available for all the reporting user, right? Report editor. So what I have again published to Helix dashboard option, and here I can see demo, and this is the alias which I have given in this file, right? The alias. So here we have this option as well, configure tenant environment. Let's say there is a use case, you are creating this view on the dev environment, you test everything on the dev environment, but you don't want to create a view again on the QA or on the prod. You just want to publish this to QA or prod, right? So in that case, you can configure another tenant environment by using this option, and then give some different alias and select that name to publish your view. Right now, I have only one, so I'm just selecting this demo. Okay, it is asking me for some name, So I'll give the same name, INC 1009, today's date. I'll simply say, okay. Now, what it will do, this reporting metadata studio will again generate an XML file to check the authentication, like the reporting metadata studio authentication. Upload this file to report to Helix Dashboard. Okay. So this is now upload is done. It shows this is available. So if I go back again to Helix Dashboard, and if I try to create a new dashboard using VQB, okay. So let's say I am a viewer or report editor here. Now, if I want to use the views which is created by Adobe, so I'll just say INC 1009. Okay. So this view is available for me. And I can see, okay, stat folder is also I can see here. I'll again create same report on the VQB as well. Let's say incident number, status, user, and computer. And I'll click on preview. This will show me again a similar result. So this way we can do customization in the reporting, in the out-of-box views, or we can have the different views depending on all our customization done in the AR database. So yeah, that's what I everyone. So I'm
Okay, let's move on. All right, let's go ahead with the last section of this workshop, which is the product roadmap. So let's look at what's in store for Helix dashboards over the next few releases. So let's pause for a moment and understand how AI is making significant changes in how we as business users interact with software. And AI is going to fundamentally transform how users interact, no longer that form filling and so on. And a lot of interactions will shift to a conversational interface between a user and the AI system. So the old way was for requesters to log into portals, email the service desk, fill out a service request form, and so on. And these were the common ways of asking or requesting for a service. The new way is for them to use interfaces they're familiar with. It could be Teams or Slack and so on, where they interact with the system through that conversational interface to raise their requests. Fulfillers of service requests, typically service desk agents, they would often have to work across several forms in order to deliver the services that have been requested. The new way is for these agents to have a fleet of assistants, a number of AI-powered agents that will perform a broad range of tasks. So each agent focusing on one area to provide these services to end users or to the requesters. Data analysts, oftentimes business leaders or IT leaders would have to rely on one or a few data analysts who have special skills to glean information from enterprise applications. Not anymore. The new way is for AI agents to create or modify reports or dashboards from a range of data sources, again, all through a conversational interface. Let AI do the hard work of building the report or dashboard, and the user only focuses on providing the requirements along with sufficient context. Admins and developers you would often have to rely on developers with special skills, special educational background. They would need to have special skills in a certain system or software in order to be able to efficiently and effectively deliver results. Not anymore. In the new way, AI agents will help you automatically create those workflows, create end-to-end applications where with very few interactions, you can build fully functional business applications. At BMC, we are delivering these capabilities through BMC Helix GPT. BMC Helix GPT is our generative AI, or broadly our AI solutions to address a number of these use cases. So we've come up with several actions within Helix GPT. Converse, collaborate with a virtual agent or an AI system to be able uh, to provide a service. Summarize, look at when you close an incident or a change, glean that information, summarize all the information from the ticket, the work log, the interactions with users, summarize all of that as resolution communication, as how that incident or change was resolved. Predict. Use the power of AI to predict what's going on, identify anomalies in data, make corrective action, recommend the best actions based on what has happened so far, recommend the next best action for service desk agents, operations managers, and so on, to be able to resolve these incidents, situations, and drive them to their logical closure. Automate the process of routing cases, workflows, all of that. Bring automation to its fullest capability, all with very little interaction. Finally, create what? Create knowledge articles. Again, sift through all the data that you have at your disposal, incidents, problems, changes, and so on, to be able to automatically create content. Typically, these could be knowledge articles, dashboards. Develop dashboards based on the metadata that you have at your disposal. So these are all the actions that we have already started embedding these into BMC Helix products. So what specifically is relevant to dashboards? We'll come to that in a moment. So BMC Helix has several AI agents, and each agent will specialize in a specific range of tasks. So there's an employee navigator to help end users help with their queries around the service catalog. There's a knowledge curator for curating knowledge across all the documents, tickets, and so on. There will be a CMDB auditor for you to query the CMDB, because in CMDB, the quality of data is paramount, and fundamentally, CMDB is a data product. So query the CMDB to be able to find anomalies in data, improve the quality of data, all of that. One of these agents is Insight Finder. Insight Finder will help you develop dashboards through a conversational interface. And with that, this will significantly crash the total time required to develop a dashboard. Typically, we have seen a data analyst will take anything from half a day to 3 weeks to develop a dashboard, because dashboard is a report, or a dashboard isn't something that you just get your requirements and develop. It's an iterative process. After the first iteration, you'll see something, you may want to make improvements. You do multiple iterations, then socialize the results with a few others. You get feedback. You again improve further. All of this takes time. With Insight Finder, you can significantly crash this time. Not only that, you can also use the capabilities of Insight Finder to also do anomaly detection. So with Helix GPT, you'll be able to work with a range of databases, ticketing systems, knowledge, sources of knowledge, and operational data, and so on. And you can do this with the technologies that you already own. If you already have your own LLM subscription, it could be OpenAI or Google Gemini or any others will enable you to take advantage of these subscriptions and use BMC Helix GPT with these models. So with BMC Helix, in the BMC Helix user interface, you can use BMC Helix GPT Manager. You can also, as I said, use other UI. It could be Teams or Gemini or Copilot to glean information not just from your BMC Helix products, but from a broad range of data sources that you actively use for your enterprise applications. Let's come specifically to Insight Finder. Insight Finder is going to be an agent with which, as a data analyst, will interact with, doesn't have to be a data analyst. It can even be someone who's trying to solve a problem in the context of service management or IT operations management. They know what they're looking for, but they may not be fully familiar with the data model. So you can give your requirements through a text command, and the system will respond with a dashboard. Based on the command that you've given, it will determine the best way to pull that data. It automatically determines whether it's related to incidents or service desk or knowledge or service levels, SLAs or CMDB, business workflows, whatever. It will then create a query, a database query that will be executed on the database. And once it gets the result set from the database, Insight Finder will determine what's the best visualization to visually communicate this information with the user. So all of this is going to be part of Insight Finder. The basic use case is just develop a dashboard based on a text command. And in the future, we'll look at some advanced use cases, such as being able to analyze the dashboard. So for example, from a timeline, determine what are the outliers. You find a few outliers here. It could be in a positive way or negative way. Find your outliers in the various panels in those dashboards, draw your attention to them, and then allow the user to drill down to those anomalies or those outliers. With this, Insight Finder can enable a data analyst or a service desk manager, any service manager or operations manager, to analyze IT problems. Or okay, problem has a specific meaning in ITSM. I meant the generic meaning of problems or issues that typically operations managers or service managers have to deal with. So these are some of the use cases we'll start with, and there's more in store for future releases. I'll talk about a few other roadmap items. So the major item I've already talked about, using the power of generative AI in the process of building dashboards and analyzing data. Now let's come to some other things. Grafana open source is what we use for dashboards. Helix Dashboards is an extension of Grafana. Currently, we are on version 10.4.2, which we did in the 24.3 release. We will upgrade to Grafana 11.2 soon. So with this upgrade, you'll be able to take advantage of all the new features that Grafana brings to dashboards. Visual Query Builder, we just saw a demo of what Visual Query Builder can do, a drag and drop interface for building reports without having to know or understand SQL. We have shipped several out-of-the-box metadata views. This is the semantic layer that's required for Visual Query Builder to automatically create that SQL. We have already shipped all of the most common views that you would require for building dashboards. There are a few on our roadmap, like release management, for example. The second one is portfolio management. Helix Portfolio Management is a separate product. If you own this product, then you'll be able to use dashboards in portfolio management. We also saw in the demo Reporting Metadata Studio, which is a developer app for your admin or your typically admins to extend the out-of-the-box views to include your custom fields, custom forms, custom applications. Another recent feature we have added is global constraints, which can be used to automatically add a filter, a condition that must apply automatically to any dashboard that's created on that view. So we have seen some of our customers in certain European countries use it to comply with regulations in their countries where users belonging to one company cannot have access to data of other companies. You can enforce this. Some of our customers enforce this rule by creating global constraints. I'll skip some of the minor improvements, but in recent releases, we have also added additional operators and functions for various data types. Text or date functions, text functions, aggregate, use string functions to convert to uppercase, lowercase, use ltrim or rtrim to remove leading spaces or trailing spaces, all of that. Typically, if you write SQL, you know what each of these functions you would use for. In future releases, we'll also enrich the metadata. That is, every field will have a description to help your report developers understand what's the business meaning of every field in a view. Role-based access control is another recent feature that we have introduced to allow you to create custom roles. Out of the box, we ship 3 roles: viewer, editor, and admin. But some companies need more granular control over roles. So we allow you to create custom roles. You can also configure which permission each role has. So through this UI, you can see in this screenshot, when you create a role, you can define the granular permission that you want to grant to that role. And once you have done that, all you have to do is add users to this custom role so that those users will get all of the permissions that are configured for that role. We have seen that many of our customers use they use the export functionality of dashboards, with which they export dashboards to PDF or XLS formats. So in recent times, we have made several improvements to PDF and Excel reports. So formatting of various plugins, table and record details. If a panel has a table and if it requires you to scroll on screen, now when you export to PDF, the entire content is exported to PDF. Maintain column widths and so on. So there are several small and big improvements to PDF exports. I'll skip this one, but a table plugin. BMC table is a recent visualization or plugin that we delivered because we found that the Grafana table plugin has several limitations and we don't have control over it. But BMC table is something that we control, and we have we have introduced several improvements, such as being able to handle word wrap. So if a text string runs across multiple rows, we gracefully handle word wrap when it goes to the next row and so on, retain carriage returns. You can even generate barcodes. Some of our customers use data in one column is automatically converted to barcodes. This is often useful in asset management, where you may want to generate barcodes and print those stickers and then stick those barcodes on those assets. All of these improvements have been done to BMC table plugin. We have got several in store. Convert a field to a QR code, split a column into multiple columns, concatenate two columns into one. Once you've got results on the screen, allow users to filter on that column. Several other UX improvements are in store. Likewise, we'll look at opportunities to improve the BMC Crosstab plugin. If you have ideas about what we can do to improve BMC Crosstab plugin, please reach out to us and let us know. Another recent feature is the ability to schedule reports, which appears in the body of the email. You've got other methods also, such as you can export to an FTP folder or send the dashboard as an attachment. It could be XLS or PDF, but now you can also send the report in the body of the email with clickable links. So if you can see in the screenshot, if it's got record numbers, your users or the recipients of the scheduled report can click on those links and view those records. I'll skip these two MSPs. They are special use cases. Backing up of dashboards. This is more about dashboard definitions. Just in case someone inadvertently deletes a dashboard, you should be able to restore it from a backup. Not just the dashboard definition, also the schedules for those dashboards will also help you back up your metadata views. Any customizations that you do to the out-of-the-box views will also help you automate these, so you don't have to manually take backups. We'll help you automate the process of backing up dashboards at regular intervals. Audit trail. So you often may need an audit trail that helps your admins know who created a dashboard, who modified it. If it was deleted, then who did that. This can help sometimes when something goes wrong and for the purpose of tracking. Scheduling improvements, we've done several recently, and we have got several more on the roadmap, such as dynamic recipient scheduling, where the list of recipients comes from the result set of one of the panels within that dashboard, or will allow you to schedule dashboards to all recipients of a team rather than have to specify the identity of every user who must receive that schedule. Allow inactive user schedules to be deactivated. Oftentimes when people leave the company, you may want their schedules to be made inactive. We'll allow you to do that. We continually deliver out-of-the-box dashboards. These are all the dashboards we have delivered in recent times. There are several on the roadmap. Change calendar coming up soon, where you can see on a calendar UI, you can see the total number of changes scheduled for every day of a month, and then you can drill down on that and go to the details. We'll introduce dashboards for portfolio management, operations management so all these Kubernetes dashboards relate to operations management. There will be a license usage dashboard that you can use to determine compliance of your BMC Helix license position. Usage dashboards help you get insights into your usage or the adoption of Helix dashboards at your company. So we'll show you which dashboards are used, which ones not, who are your top users, the active schedules, inactive schedules, all of that. Will also help you show details of successful and failed schedules. Some of these are roadmap items, dashboard views by user, drill down to who's viewing which dashboards, and so on. We are going to support we currently support French, German, and Spanish, but we are going to extend support for Canadian French and Canadian English. I'll skip this slide, but in the interest of time, we have a few minutes for questions. Maybe we should go to the questions now. So I'll end this presentation.
Yeah, and we can send out the slides with the design partnership. So if anyone is interested, we're always looking for customers, partners that want to work with our product UX team. I will share the links and I'll also share the QR code so you can sign up that way. We've got quite a few questions, Nikhil, in the Q&A, and I'm just starting to unmute everyone. So the first question we had from Mainuff was, is there a way to get knowledge articles related information from ComAround in Helix Dashboard? If you can answer that first one. Thank you.
Yes, this is a roadmap item. Being able to develop reports on ComAround, or what we call Helix Knowledge Management, is a roadmap item. I cannot tell you exactly when, but roughly 6 to 9 months.
Menath, did you have another question, or did that answer? Hopefully it has. I've given you the ability to talk to us. If not, we'll move to the next question due to time. Okay.
Yes. Can we utilize dashboards for custom-based forms which are developed in ARS? Yes, you can. Use BMC Helix as your data source, and you can develop dashboards on ARS applications.
And then we have Vinzetti's question, which is it possible to insert an image store on BMC dashboard? If I insert the image like a reference, I can modify the image on different dashboards at the same time.
Okay, Ajinkya, Kshitija, can you respond to this question?
Hey, I joined few minutes back, so we are on which question? Is it?
I'll read the question again.
Yeah.
Is it possible to insert an image stored on BMC dashboard? If I insert the image like a reference, I can modify the image on different dashboards at the same time.
So what I'll suggest here, so same image you want to use it in multiple dashboards. In that case, you can create a library panel, and there you can use canvas option, which is available with Helix Dashboards as a visualization plugin. And there you can use that image, and that can be referred into the panels or dashboards wherever you want. And it will get updated everywhere if you want it to be done that way. So it is possible.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank
Kashif.
you. The next question, I'll take the next one, which is around the release management process. Yeah, timeline for the release metadata view, roughly 6 months, roughly another 6 months. Next one is AI and Helix GPT available only on cloud solutions, not on-prem. We'll find out and respond to you later on whether these solutions will be available on premise.
The next question, Nikhil, is quite a long one from
Yes.
Norskin. I'll let you read it
Are
out
you
if you
able
want.
to, are you able to
Yeah.
read the Q&A questions and answers? There's a question from
Norskin and
Yeah.
Nora Shikin Hasnan.
Yeah, I have recreate aging report in Helix base on the skill from smart reporting. I'm encountering some data discrepancy on the aging days result where there 1 days extra or less in Helix aging days. Okay, so I think whenever you're calculating date add or date, you're using date diff or date add function. And if there you're facing 1 day of difference, then I mean, the way it works in smart reporting, if you look at the query of smart reporting, it just takes the date part of it. It doesn't consider whole timestamp, like the time part of it, whenever calculating date diff. But in case of Helix dashboard, it considers entire timestamp. I mean, along with the time part of it, it considers everything. So you must be seeing the difference because of that part.
I don't know, Narishkin, if you can hear us and you want to comment, because I saw you've got another question as well. Can you hear us?
Yes. Can
Hello.
you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Okay, noted on the calculation. Currently, I'm granting access for user based on their groups lah. So there were about maybe 1,000 plus user. Can I upload the access based on the group, or do I have to manually?
So you have a set of
For
users
example, I
and
have
you want to
1,000
assign
users based
team.
on the group lah. The access to the folder is based on groups.
Mhm.
Is there any way I can upload the user list based on the group?
I think I have to look at this, but as per my knowledge, we don't have any bulk upload as of now. But
Okay.
still, I'll confirm and get back on this.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for your questions. I think that covers all our questions that we've got in the chat. I don't know if there's anyone else, just based on these questions. We will be sharing them out. If you've got anything else for these last few minutes, feel free to raise your hand. Otherwise, we will be sharing out all the content. I know quite a lot of people have asked in the chat if we're going to be sharing the slides. We will, and we'll be sharing the recording. And it might take a little bit of time to get the Q&A together, but we will also share that Q&A. And I'll put some links in there to point you to the other Q&A that we've had from past sessions, because they may also be useful when you go to do your migration as well. I don't know, Nikhil, if there was anything else that you wanted to add.
No, just one word. We are going to plan several webinars over the next few months on dashboards. This is the basic workshop for those customers who are just getting onto Helix dashboards. But over the next few months, you will see us schedule webinars on specific topics related to BMC product, best practices on using dashboards, tips and tricks for performance optimization, and so on. So please look forward to these sessions starting January. And we hope to share as much information as we possibly can to make you successful with your adoption of dashboards.